Hey folks, how's it going? Seth Williams here. I'm the founder of retipster.com. In case you don't know me, just want to say huge thanks for joining us today. And why are we all here today? Well, over the past couple of years, I've been pretty deep into exploration mode, learning all kinds of things about the rapidly changing world of AI. And almost 2 years ago now, when ChatGPT was first released to the public, we have seen some crazy innovations that have been changing the way we do business, changing the way the internet works. And these things are going to continue to change with the world around us, whether we want it to or not. But the interesting thing is, even though AI has been making headlines and a lot of noise over the past couple of years, the majority of the public still has not adopted this technology. A fair number of people have played around with it, that kind of thing, but they haven't even scratched the surface of what it can do. They haven't really gotten deep into all of its capabilities. I came across a study earlier this year that showed that even now, only a small percentage of people are using AI tools like ChatGPT, like Claude on a daily basis. It just really blew my mind to see that 10 or 15% of the people in the US are using these tools consistently. And, it may be because they're confused by it. Maybe they don't realize what it can do. Maybe they're just in denial because they know it could threaten their jobs and livelihood. But the truth is, for those who have not jumped on the bandwagon, I can tell you in no uncertain terms, they are missing out. And that goes for you, too. If you are not actively using tools like ChatGPT and the host of other technology that is now available, which is mostly free, by the way, you are going to get left behind. And I don't want that for you. It doesn't need to be this way. And that's why Mike and I are here today. We want to share with you how AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, and even newer tools that have recently come onto the scene are completely revolutionizing the way we work. And this isn't just for content creation or writing emails, which is what most people think of, but this can be used in much more impactful ways that can save you gobs of time and money and help you make smarter business decisions. I'm talking about stuff that can start contributing to your bottom line in real, tangible ways right now. Personally, tools like ChatGPT have become essential. I can do things now that I simply couldn't do before. Helps me brainstorm and stay organized and very quickly handle or even eliminate everyday tasks that used to take way more time than they should. And it's just taken my productivity to new levels. And when I see that other people aren't using this and aren't even really aware of what can be done, it almost hurts because I know they're working a lot harder and spending a lot more time on things that they just don't need to. And it's frankly not that hard to learn this stuff. It's pretty easy. And earlier this year, when I started thinking about ways to help other people see the light and start using this in their businesses, I knew I needed someone else's perspective, someone who is just as enthusiastic as I am about AI, but also knows how to use it in ways that I hadn't even really considered. And that's when I got to thinking about my friend, Mike Balcom. He and I were hanging out at a conference earlier this year. We had some incredible conversations about how we're both using AI. And he was telling me about how he's using it not only in his land business, but also to just supercharge his entire team's workflow and a lot of other things. And his passion and knowledge was so clear to me. And it was obvious that this was the guy to help get the word out about how AI can transform their businesses and their lives, really. So I asked him if he'd be interested in teaming up to do this webinar. And thankfully, he was all in. And we actually did another webinar kind of similar to this earlier this year. Maybe you caught that one. I hope you did. But today we're going to give you some updates on what we've been seeing, how we're using AI now, how things have changed, because it is changing like on a weekly basis. There's always some new thing coming out and some new innovation. We're going to dive into all this and show you how AI can go way beyond surface level tasks. And Mike has prepared an awesome presentation to help explain all this. It's going to be great. So Mike, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Well, thank you, Seth. Pleasure to be with you as always. So yeah, we did this course before, and I got to be honest with you, Seth, I think we made a huge mistake. Here we are, we've been using AI for a year and a half, 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. We have learned a ton, and we're so excited about it that we present it to other people. and we tried to teach them everything we knew in 4 weeks. And it was just overload. We're trying to dive deep into concepts that really should take some time to learn that frankly took us time to learn. And we just rushed through everything. So after talking to everyone, it's like, look, this is amazing. I'm buying back so much of my time in my business. My team's more efficient. We're being smarter with everything. But boy, do you guys go fast and know a lot. I think you need to slow down and dive deeper into it. And I know you and I talked about it. So that's what we're going to do now. And I'm excited, Seth. How are you feeling about this?
I know it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I had a ton of fun doing this with you and the group the first time, but there's just a ton to cover here. So I agree. It's about time we do it again, but sort of stretch it out and give us some more breathing room. And yeah, so I'm excited to get into it today.
Well, let's start talking about it. ChatGPT mastery. Of course, we'll be covering a lot more things besides just ChatGPT, but that will be a huge part of what we cover because frankly, right now, ChatGPT is capable of doing everything out there on the market. So it's a huge success. We heard great feedback, so we're going to do it again. During this time, I really just want to take this to kind of talk to you about what in the world are we going to do? What are you going to learn? How are you going to apply it? How is it going to change your business? How are you going to have so much more time to then actually start growing your business and actually focus on working on your business instead of in your business? And it's amazing how we can leverage these tools to do that. So I know we're really excited. We came up with a 7-week course, and we're going to cover things from the basic to very in-depth topics. How to build scripts, how to create automations in your business, along with just what in the world is this even, and how does it even work? Like, Seth, what do you mean it's not just for emails? Like, I thought that's what it was all about. Oh, I'm excited. In week 1, we're going to teach you the basics. What is AI? How does this work? How is it possible that I'm talking to someone that seems to know almost everything there is to know in the world? Really want to give you a good foundation of that and actually let you understand a little bit of the inner workings of this AI. So when it does make mistakes, you understand what's going wrong. And when it doesn't give you the answer you want to, why is that? Is it AI's fault? Is it your fault? Is it a mix of both? After that, in week number 2, it's how to actually use this for research and decision making. This is huge in our business. We use it all the time. My team now knows that anytime they have a question, you don't come ask me first. You don't ask management first. You ask AI. It's smarter than all of us. So what a great way to increase your business, have better answers, and to really knock out a lot of this research for you. I will tell you, it always blows me away because we talk about this decision making. And I meet with my team, and my team is amazing. I love them to death. But I have to tell you, they don't have 600 years of business experience. ChatGPT does. The things it can recommend and just new concepts it can kind of present for you are things, frankly, a lot of times I've never thought of before in my life. And I'm like, wow, it's a different way of looking at it. And 9 times out of 10, it's a much better way of looking at it. So we'll start diving into that. But it's not just that. We're also going to give examples and things you can actually use in your life, and then things you can actually do before next week's class. You actually start utilizing these tools. So we're really excited about that. From there too, how can we use it more in our business? So we figured out how to make decisions, but now that we know how to make those decisions, what are we going to do? Well, we can use it to write emails, absolutely, or marketing campaigns, or to start making contracts for us. I used to really pride myself, Seth. I'd have so many templates, so many contract templates and everything to use. We don't have much of those anymore. And we go to ChatGPT and have it create so much for us. Yeah. We have to write a funky addendum that we've never written before, piece of cake. So we're going to show you how to start using all of that there, how it can start analyzing data for you in massive amounts. And now you no longer need to be a data scientist to really start understanding inner workings of your own business. Moving on from there, week 4, Google Scripts. Now you might be thinking, Mike, what is a Google Script? I've never heard of such a thing. It's essentially a macro for Excel. Now, when I say that, you might be thinking, okay, dude, I'm still not with you at all. And that's totally fine. Think about anything at all you do on Excel or Google Sheets that's repetitive. I know for me, for a while, things that would be repetitive in my business is after you skip trace data or you pull it from one site, It's like, okay, you need to take column AZ and replace it with column A on this new spreadsheet because that's what we need for our mail merge and all these other funky things. And it's just a copy and paste game. But why? Why do I need to do that every time or my team do that every time if I can just have the computer do it for me? We're going to show you how to use AI to actually write those things so it'll start doing the work for you. And now you want to talk about replacing some of your team members, or what I think is most importantly is making sure it's done right. We'll teach you actually how to build these things so it'll happen automatically in your business. This is really fun and exciting stuff. From there, too, we're going to dive into Python scripts. Python is something we typically have on our computers. A lot of us don't even know about it. And you can write some amazing code. You can merge so many things together. You can use it to scrape the internet. I mean, the amount of things you can do with Python are endless. And you might be thinking, all right, this Mike dude, he must have gone to school for IT, or he must have a huge background in this or something. No, I was not using Python until about 8 months ago when ChatGPT said, I can't do that for you, but Python can. Here's a Python script. I thought, okay, cool. What's a Python script and what do I do with it? And that's the amazing thing is ChatGPT, not only can it build out all these things to implement for you, it can also tell you how to implement them. It's like having a coach every step of the way that can teach you all the way from preschool level to you may be working on your 10th PhD. So really excited to do that, teach you how to build all these things, teach you essentially how to be a coder without even having to understand how to code. Week 6, custom GPTs. Seth, what is a custom GPT, man? Explain this to me.
Oh man, they're amazing. So it's kind of like if you could use ChatGPT for a certain task, but sort of tee it up so that the first word that you say in the conversation, it comes to the table with a lot of preconceived ideas about, what we're talking about, what it's supposed to do for you, kind of explain to it what you want it to do, and it will just get there a lot faster. I've created a couple of them now, for analyzing different types of properties where I've fed it all kinds of different information about how to analyze properties, what is considered a good deal, how we measure that. And it's basically saves me at least 30 to 45 minutes every time I use it, because instead of like having to plug dozens of numbers into a spreadsheet and mess with all this stuff, I can literally just feed it a few key pieces of information and it does all these calculations for me and tells me how good of a deal it is on a scale of 1 to 10 based on the information I gave to it. And this is like one of millions of different examples of how you could create a custom GPT. It's not terribly difficult, but it does take a little bit of explanation just to kind of help you understand how you make these things and how you can tweak and refine them to make them better. But if you can grasp this, it's unbelievable how much time it can save you, and it can help you make better decisions a lot faster and just save you a lot of mental bandwidth. Because I know every time I analyze a deal, I just feel a little bit more tired at the end of that, and a custom GPT can just save you a lot of that energy.
Absolutely. You can use it to analyze deals. We actually built, don't hate me for this, Seth. We actually built Seth AI, a custom GPT after you. You have amazing podcast, as everyone knows. That's how so many of us got started into it. We've taken transcripts from tons of those, from RE Tipster, tons of things there, plugged it into this custom GPT. It has all this knowledge. I mean, it's not there yet, but I'd say almost as smart as you. And it's great. We almost have a running joke in our business now where if somebody has a question, it's just, oh, did you ask Seth? And it's just like, nobody on my team has your number, but we can all ask you questions. And you know what's great is you're available to us 24/7, Seth. Like, thank you for that. We love it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Love just going to you. Yeah.
Like if you can do that for a Seth, what if you could do that for Abraham Lincoln or Albert Einstein? Or think of literally any historical figure, whether they're dead or alive. If you wanted them in your corner to give you advice on things, probably make something like this for them too. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I think it's one of the strongest things you can do in the AI world, and enough people are not utilizing it. So we'll sit down and we'll show you exactly how you can do this. Now, something that seems so complex, but it's really pretty easy once you start diving into it. And then you have all these custom GPTs for life. It's amazing. So then we will get to the saddest part, our last week. However, though, I am always so stoked for our last week because in the very last week of our presentation, we go over a million things. We definitely will overload you then, talk about all the other tricks and tools we're using, different extensions that link with AI, how you can link Zapier or Make, and everything else you can do around it. And what's really wild with this is we're still scraping the surface a little bit. I mean, the amount of things you can do with AI is endless. Week 7, we're going to show you so much more. I'm always excited for week 7. I know we always go way over time in week 7, but it's just going to be an absolute blast. Seth, some of the things you have shown me. Okay. So if you guys don't know this yet, pretty soon in the future, you might be seeing Seth speak every single language on Earth. And you might be thinking, what's Mike talking about? Like, don't get me wrong, you're a really smart guy, Seth. But to memorize 50, 60 languages, that's crazy. Seth found this AI tool where he can upload a video and now it will start talking in Spanish and it looks just like Seth is the one talking. You can do it in Spanish, Hungarian, Italian, Creole, you name it, it can do it. Like, how insane is that? Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I will say this week 7 stuff, talking about Zapier and Make integrations. If you're not familiar with that, basically helps connect different applications on the internet together so they just kind of work together automatically. And this is like some pretty valuable stuff. Like there are consultants that get paid tens of thousands of dollars to set up one of these things just because it's almost like hiring a person, making a task just run by itself. And that was pretty cool already. But when you can get ChatGPT involved, like actual intelligent AI, to perform any of this stuff, that is a huge, huge deal. And so we're going to be diving in how to do that stuff. And I think it'll be pretty impressive.
Absolutely. I am so excited, Seth. I really am. Yeah. It's amazing. Our listing descriptions are better. Our photos are better. Our branding is better. I mean, you name it. Everything's just become so much stronger since we started implementing AI in our business. Our team works faster. They can analyze things quicker and frankly, better. Everybody on my team is essentially a data scientist now because they have AI in their corner. They're also a content creator and a marketing genius. And now comes the time too where they might be dealing with a seller on the phone. A seller asks them a really good question. They don't know a rebuttal for that. They don't know how to respond. Great. Take that to ChatGPT. You know what it's like to just have a conversation with Chris Voss on ChatGPT and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what the seller recommended. What should I do? Like have the world's FBI hostage negotiator, #1 in the world, tell you how you actually handle this type of negotiation. Like it's incredible. You can talk to people like that.
Yeah,
so
amazing.
Very excited for that. And that takes us to the big question. You ready to change your business? You ready to transform it with AI? Are you ready to have so many more hours back and make way less countless mistakes? If you are, I think you should join us. I mean, Seth, why should people come hang out with us? What is really there to gain besides all those phenomenal things we just said?
Well, first of all, it's us. I mean, that's the biggest thing right there. But beyond that, I mean, there's going to be a few things that we've put together here. First of all, it's these weekly meetings in person on Zoom and really just handhold and take people through how to do this stuff. We're going to leave time for questions. So if people are stuck on something, they can get unstuck. We can help them overcome the obstacles. Some of the stuff we do, especially as we start out, is going to be pretty elementary, pretty easy stuff, just explaining the very basic things. But as we get further along, it can be more and more beneficial to have somebody standing over your shoulder, helping people figure out how to implement this stuff so it works for them in their lives and their businesses. And we also put together what we're calling the Pulse Inner Circle. This is where we continue to do these bi-weekly meetings where Mike and I get on calls and help people stay up to speed on what's going on right now, because AI is absolutely changing by the day. Like new things are happening all the time, and you can't just have a static set of information about this. The purpose of this course that we're going to be running is to bring people up to speed. But then once we're there, like how do we stay up to speed and make sure we're actually, doing this to the extent that we can? Normally, this is a $197 a month membership. But for people who join us on this course that we're going to be doing, we're going to get 6 months of this for free. And when a person is in this community, they also get access to a lot of different videos that we've put together showing case studies and specific walkthroughs on how to execute this stuff effectively. Like step by step, how do we create one of these Google scripts? Or how can we, research zoning, covenants, and restrictions and do subdivisions with Claude and everything under the sun? Our goal is to make this the go-to resource for a lot of the stuff that you need to know about AI, whether it's ChatGPT or other resources out there. Yeah, so it's really just making sure that we can get you up to speed and keep you up to speed. Am I missing anything, Mike? Is that the gist of it?
That is the gist of it, yeah. While doing this, because everything's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving, we're doing our best to stay at the forefront of all of it and give it back to the community. Let them know what's going on. How can you save so much time? How can you go from 1.0 land investing to 2.0? Or frankly, I think it's more like going to 5.0 or 10.0, all the things you can do. It's done nothing but helped our business a ton. And I'm passionate about it. I'm stoked about it, Seth. I love what AI could do and the amount of time we've saved and how much better we are as a business.
Yeah, for sure. And for all the wonderful things we're saying about AI, it is wonderful. It's also worth noting there are times when AI gets it wrong. And maybe it doesn't have all the answers, or maybe it doesn't give you quite the result that you were hoping for. And when that happens, and it inevitably will happen, how do we get to where we want to go? How do we get the result we're looking for? Or how do we know when we can and can't trust this? Or if it's telling us information we know is wrong, what do we do with that? How do we know what to trust and what to verify? How do we get the right answer? And those are really important things too. It's not to just implicitly trust ChatGPT with everything, thinking that it always has the right answer. It usually does. But how do you split hairs and understand, okay, I don't know if I can trust you for this. We're going to get into all that stuff so that you can really use your own human critical thinking in combination with the superpowers that AI will give you in your business.
It's absolutely amazing, Seth. I am so excited to go on this journey with you again. It really is. We'll start teaching people, should they be using Perplexity or Gemini or Meta AI, or Claude, or the list goes on and on and on and on. We'll dive in and let you know what we're using, what we think you should use, and really what are the advantages and disadvantages of each one, because they're all different and they're all so powerful. It is amazing. It really is. I mean, not a day goes by we don't use it in our business. I think not a day goes by that we don't use it multiple times in our business. Do you know how much better our calling team has gotten? Because now they do role playing with AI. Like, how great is that? It can have great rebuttals. It can put them in really difficult situations, really easy situations. And guess what? As they do this with AI, it's not me having to role play with them. Because unfortunately, I can only role play with one person at a time, where my whole team now can role play with Seth AI and all these other amazing things. So it's incredible. I'm always blown away by how many people don't use it. I know a couple of people from the course we just ran on this too. Some of them said like, I wasn't a believer. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And after going through it, I can't get off the thing. It's addicting. It's changing everything.
Yeah.
So let's change your business.
It's funny. And this is, my wife, she used ChatGPT for the first time, like for a real actual task about a month ago. And it was, a very basic thing, just to write an email that was kind of a hard email to write. Like she wanted to deliver bad news or, basically a no to somebody, but didn't want to burn a bridge and, make things weird. And she was blown away at how good ChatGPT wrote this email. And she could basically just copy and paste the thing, and how she never would have been able to do this on her own. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I know. You get it? It was awesome to see her see the light. But it was just another reminder of just how many people still don't really get it. And for the people who do get it and do start using this, they're going to be miles ahead of a lot of the folks out there that, I don't know if they're just consciously resistant to it or if they just kind of aren't paying attention to it or what it is, but it's actually kind of a good thing, I think, for the people that do use it, the fact that not everyone does, because maybe the day will come where everybody's on board. I have to imagine, it took a while for Google to get widely adopted by the masses, but we're kind of in that honeymoon stage right now with ChatGPT and AI, where there's a select few people out there that really get how to use this stuff. And the more you can get it, the better you'll be equipped to handle everything.
It's amazing the time it can save you on things. Whether you're looking over a ginormous contract and you just want to know some ins and outs of it. I mean, I will tell you, our team uses that all the time for things. A title company sends you something and you're like, what's this Schedule B? Is this good? Is this bad? Like, what do all those things mean? Or just doing land deals in different states. Realtors will send you offer prices and everything, and these contracts always look so different. And it's like, I just need the important stuff. I don't need the cookie cutter things that you put on every single contract every single time, but it's in a different order. I mean, I used to spend hours reading these things. Now I plug it into AI and I say, hey, what's going on here? What's the final sales price? What's the commission? What are the contingencies? Just tell me the nuts and bolts of this agreement. And it's just saved us so much time.
I'm glad you mentioned like the title, Schedule B and things like that. Like whether it's title research or just, plain old boring due diligence on a piece of land. Like there are so many opportunities to screw this up when you're just using your own human set of eyes in your brain. Like it's very easy to get lazy. Even if the information is there and you're looking at it, it's still easy to not see it. I'm super guilty of this. I've got like actual reading comprehension problems where like I can read the same thing 3 times and still not understand what I'm reading. And this kind of AI stuff can solve that problem like that. Like it will read massive amounts of text, pick out little details that you probably would never see on your own, even if something is written in a confusing way or using industry jargon or even another language. It can help you make sense of all of that in ways that your human mind on its own just can't do.
I mean, you were talking not too long ago, Seth, how you were analyzing a deal and you had to get a couple different things done. And ChatGPT ended up having you walk away from the deal and essentially saving you $200,000.
Yeah,
is that right?
That's right? Yeah, it was just another awesome example of what if I hadn't done that? What if I had gone forward, basically just not doing this very easy stuff that frankly most people don't do. It'd be pretty costly to make those decisions without being fully equipped with the knowledge that AI helped me pull out of a very confusing, complicated set of documents. It was very, very helpful. And that's one of many different examples and case studies we're going to cover and show everybody really step by step how you can start using this. I mean, really one of these weekly sessions is going to be worth a ton if you implement even part of it.
No, I mean, my team, we must save 300, 400, 500 hours a year now because of AI. We can take on so much more than we ever could before because we're able to leverage this. And it's just unbelievable. It really is. I mean, it's just having a genius with you every step of the way with essentially anything and everything you want to do. And I hate to admit this, Seth, but between you and I don't know what I don't know. And it drives me crazy. And I love just going to ChatGPT or Claude or something and putting in something there and saying, how does this look? And what am I missing? Or what questions am I not asking? Yeah. And it's amazing the things we just don't know. And we don't know that we don't know them. That's the hardest thing. But AI does know them. And it's amazing for just brainstorming, figuring out how to do it. We're asking people that have exited, multi-million-dollar businesses. Essentially, that's what ChatGPT has the knowledge to do and say, how would you handle this situation or that situation? Is this right? Is this fair? Is this legal? If you were me, what would you do? So we've implemented new policies, new regulations, and my whole company is actually happier now that we have AI because it's always there to help them. And we're able to implement new policies and procedures that make them happier and frankly, save up their time.
Yeah. I do think a big part of getting the result that you want out of any AI tool comes down to your own ability to articulate what you want. And if you don't get what you want the first time, how do you keep articulating and pushing it until you get the result? I think that's where this kind of falls apart for a lot of people. And it almost kind of goes back to, like, it reminds me, being a podcast interviewer, I've been told that I'm pretty good at asking good questions. Like I know how to get the right information out of a person, like the questions that everybody's wondering about. Like it just comes to me. And I think it was Voltaire who said, judge a man by his questions rather than his answers. And it kind of goes back to this prompting thing. It reminds me of that. Like your ability to prompt and to articulate what you want is almost more important than the answer. Because if you know what you want, that will get down to the bottom of the answer that you're going to get. Interestingly, you can even ask ChatGPT, how can I ask you a better question? Or how can I make a better prompt? So you don't necessarily have to come to the table like with this brilliant mind, with all this preconceived knowledge about how to do all this stuff. But if you know how to get the ball rolling and how to keep pushing it forward a little bit at a time, you can totally get there. And we're going to help you understand how you can do that.
I'm so excited for this. I mean, people that don't use AI in their business right now, to me, that's equivalent of using a calculator and a piece of paper instead of using an Excel sheet, or a Google sheet. I mean, that is really the difference here. And it's unbelievable. It's those people that still use fax machines instead of using AI or instead of using email, excuse me.
Yeah. Or like, going to the library and, getting library cards and looking up stuff on hard copies from 30 years ago instead of just using Google. I mean, it's kind of like that. Like it is so much easier when you understand some very basic fundamentals about how to do this.
Well, I'm excited, Seth. What more do the people need to know?
So we're going to be kicking this off in early November. So we're going to be meeting on Tuesdays, starting on November 5, and then November 12, 19, 26, and then December 3, 10, and 17. So always on Tuesdays, and we're going to show the schedule right here on the screen right now, just so you can understand when this is happening. And all of these sessions will be recorded. So if for some reason you can't make it right at that moment, it's totally fine. You can always catch the recording. If you've got questions that weren't answered in those sessions, you're welcome to email myself or Mike or both of us, and we can always chime in and try to help you there. So ideally, it's great if you can be there, but you don't have to be. And these recordings will be available to you for a good amount of time after this is done as well. So you can keep going back and reviewing the stuff that we talk about. We're also going to have some downloadable PDFs and assets, a lot of example prompts that you can use if you're not even sure where to start. Like you can literally just copy and paste the examples that we're going to give you. And since we're going to be starting this in early November, so the cutoff date to sign up for this, it's going to be the end of October, October 31 at midnight. So I'm going to have some links to the checkout pages if you want to sign up. We're going to have a couple different pricing options. If you either want to pay all up front or do the payment plan. If you want to take the next step, I really hope you do. It's going to be an amazing experience. I know pretty much everybody who went through our first course, everybody loved it. This is going to be like that, but twice as good because it's twice as long. And we're covering a lot more stuff with a lot more breathing room to get into the details and get your questions and give better answers. And I'm excited for this new adventure with you, Mike. I think we're going to help a lot of people out. And yeah, we'll have links to the different checkout pages here. And feel free to check that out. Just be sure you sign up by October 31, midnight, and I hope we'll see you on the other side.
I'm so excited, Seth. This is going to be great. Here we are just giving away all our secret sauce, all our success because of this, and you want to just give it out to the world.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited too. I really am.
For sure. So for those of you who joined us today, I hope you got something out of it. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for taking your time to hang out with us. And if you want to sign up, the links are right there. I'll flash the link here on the screen as well, just in case wherever you're watching this, if you can't find the link, just retipster.com/chat. That's where you can go to find that. Thanks again, Mike, for being here and doing the presentation. Thanks to everybody who was here live. And if you're watching the recording, thanks for watching the recording. And I look forward to seeing those of you who decide to join when we start the course in November.
Thanks again, Seth. I'll see everybody soon. Looking forward to it.